So let's break this down a little bit. It says, Bryan started harassing. This person claims to be from the UK, not from Ohio at all. It says, Bryan started harassing the family of Brayden while Brayden was still on life support. The argument started while Brayden was in the hospital when Brayden's grandmother put up a picture of my son Luke. He hadn't been arrested yet. He put up a picture of my son Luke on Facebook. And I knew her. We knew each other. We had all dealt drugs together and made money together and all that stuff back in the day when I was that kind of person. She put up this picture of my son on Facebook, and some of the family members passing around like, if you see this guy, drag him in your house and whoop his ass. He did this and that, and the police are looking for him. So I messaged her, and I said, you need to take that picture of my son down. I said, he hasn't been arrested, he hasn't been to court, and you can't be convicting him until we know what happened. So that started an argument, right? And she's like, well, I know he did this and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you need to take it down, which she did. She took it down. But it started a big argument, which led to her like, come out of my house, I'll come outside, and blah, blah, blah. I have that conversation, and I will put it up. I still got it. It says he not only harassed and stalked the family. How do you stalk the family? Are you saying that I was going to where they was at? When they would send me messages and put up posts about this and that, my consensus was that my son was innocent until proven guilty. Just like any other person that's committed a crime. All the true crime that I've ever done has been after someone was convicted. She says he not only harassed and stalked the family, mocked Brayden, but also called the media for interviews. I never called the media for interviews. They showed up at my house because I was listening, and I've showed this too, and I'll show it if I have to. I was a witness for the state since I knew where my son was hiding at, and I told the police where he was at, and I went up and got him and brought him down, so that made me a witness for the state. So they came to my house, and yeah, I sat down and I talked to him, and what I said was, well, I said, I love my son. I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat what he may have done. And I said, if he has done this, then he needs to serve the justice to the full extent of the law. People have seen that. I didn't come on the news going, he didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't sure. And I stated that. They came to my door, knocked on my door, and asked me if I wanted to speak. And I wanted to speak. I spoke with them. Just like they go to Laundry's house, they go to anybody else's house. They get the address, they go there. He made comments about his children were above ground. Yes, that's a fact. Because Chelsea Martin, which is Brayden's auntie, Kelsey's twin sister, messaged me on Facebook and messing with my wife. She was messing with my wife in the court, and she messaged me on Facebook, and I let it go until she messaged me. She said, "Yeah, your wife's got that gimpy arm because my wife's got cerebral palsy. She's got that gimpy arm, and blah blah blah. And tell her to use her strong arm to beat you off." And so I did. I messaged her back. I said, "You know what?" Because my wife didn't have nothing to do with this. I said, "You know what? My wife might have this gimpy arm. You know, she might be this and she might be that, but she could pick up her kids today." That's what I said to Chelsea Martin. Chelsea Martin lost all 3 of her kids to children's services because of her heroin addiction. So I made that comment. It's still above ground. Now the chicken nuggets. I did make a comment about chicken nuggets because I put up pictures when we weren't able to go to Braydens' funeral because the family was there and we just didn't want to show up there, even though we knew all of them. Right? We knew we knew Kelsey and Chelsea and Victoria, all of them. We knew all those people. And I didn't think it was appropriate. Even my ex-wife didn't think it was appropriate. My ex-wife, who drinks with them today, they go to the same club. We didn't want to go to the funeral while they were there, because I look so much like Luke. And so we didn't want to go. And so I waited till the funeral was over. And I went and I paid my respects to Brayden by bringing him chicken nuggets and setting them on his grave. They got pissed off that I did that. I put chicken nuggets on his grave, and I sat there and I paid my respects to him. So I did make a comment about chicken nuggets. Splitting headaches. When people were messaging me one time about what they're going to do to Luke and how my Luke is this and Luke and that, I did. I messaged back. I said, I ain't got time for this shit. I got a fucking splitting headache, and I don't want to be bothered with you people. And they took that to mean something. I didn't say, I got a splitting headache, ha ha ha. Even making jokes about Braden's favorite movie. I have no idea what they mean by that. It says, what Bryan did was horrific. And this is a tiny part of what he did to the family. I have no idea what they mean by that. But what I can say is, there was some arguing. Now, John says that he's speaking to Braden's family. Well, remember, I have the background on all these people. And if you bring one up, I know all of them. And I'm telling you now, these aren't the best people in the world, but I understand that they are upset with anybody who had anything. They harassed my ex-wife, my sons. Well, it's not really harassing. It's just that if we ran into each other while this court case was going on for like a year, every now and then we'd run into each other. My ex-wife drives for a living. She transports elderly people back and forth to doctor's appointments. She brings them food and stuff like that. And she used her own car. Somebody put sugar in her tank and sugared up one of her cars. There were shots fired, because she would argue with them too. There were shots fired, which I posted that. When a guy fired shots at her car when she was driving down the street, and it had my grandkids in it. He was arrested for that, as a matter of fact. So there was a whole lot of fighting that went on during this. Now this is what's interesting to me. It says, I have original screenshots if you need to prove they aren't fake as Bryan claims. All screenshots are real, and Bryan knows they are. He deleted them quick. Well, if I deleted them, then you should. How'd you get them? It says he also used many alt accounts on Facebook to leave disgusting comments. I don't have any alts on YouTube. I don't have any alts on Facebook, and I never have. People were. If I have to, I'll put up the conversation where there was a St. John's of Dayton Facebook page, and one of them, whoever was using an alt account that looked like myself, was actually forgot that they were using it and was talking to each other with my account, and I grabbed it. So I'll show you that. With my fake account, with my account that had my picture on it, they were talking to each other, and they forgot they were using that account. I grabbed it before they got rid of it. Now, here's something that's interesting. She says, I have original screenshots if you need to prove, she said she grabbed them real quick before I deleted them, right? But right here it says he also ran Facebook groups to get as much attention as he can. I never ran any Facebook group about Brayden, except for the one when the first week or so, my original post was about how guilty my son was. And I put up a Facebook page expressing that guilt, where all the family was there with me. Not all of them, but most of them were there with me. It was called Love for Brayden, right? And we were talking about how my son did this case. But then as time went on and I started to grab up some of the paperwork, and he kept telling me he was innocent, I started expressing, well, Kelsey has this court order. The timeline didn't look right. And it looked like he might have been telling the truth there for a little bit, that he was innocent. I didn't go see him right away. I was pissed. So, but if this person could grab these original screenshots, they say, real quick, then why didn't they grab any Facebook group that they say that I started real quick? Why didn't they put a copy of that up? Because if they're grabbing my screenshots, like they say, then they should have been able to grab a Facebook group that showed me as an administrator that was against Brayden. They should have. Now, John says, while I talk to Braydens family today. That's fine, because I know every single one of them. I know where they're at, and I know their backgrounds, and I put some of their backgrounds up. For example, Braydens' father is in prison right now for murder. He was in prison when this happened. His name's Daryl. 2 of his family members were charged with lying to protect him from the murder that he committed. And I have already. I've showed the paperwork where they were charged. I showed what their convictions were, because they lied to protect Braydens' father. So be sure you know who it is that you're talking to, John. There's other ones that, I know all these people. So they could say whatever they want. And of course they're going to be mad at the family. So they can come up and say whatever they want to say. But be sure they come with proof. Like this right here, if this person came to a courtroom with this or something like that, it's all hearsay. This is somebody from the UK. This is all hearsay. And all out of context. Except for this, like I said. When they came harassing me, I did make a comment like that. I sure did. And that person stopped coming to my Facebook with that bullshit. Because I'm not going to listen to that. Seriously. We didn't kill anybody. I'm not going to have somebody in my Facebook. Yeah, they're going to twist your son up. They're going to fuck him in the ass. And your wife's a retard. Yeah, she got cerebral palsy. I'm not going to listen to that shit. Sorry, I'm not the laundry parent. I ain't. And this is something, this comment right here was brought out before, and I admitted to it then. Yeah, I made a comment like that. So what? And? You don't want to hear it? Don't come messaging me about my son. Especially before he was convicted. And I did make a comment about the chicken nuggets. Because everybody knew he liked nuggets. I put up I put up memorials for Brayden that they're not showing. They're just going on. And then I would argue back with the people, and some of the people in my family, some of the people on YouTube that are here today, they're like, you know what, just ignore them. So when I ignored them, because it really was consuming to argue with these people. So when I would ignore them, they would make up fake profiles. TNT was involved in that. TNT is the same person who called Ben Ashworth's parents on YouTube. And Wendy and Diane called her out for this. I thank them for that, even though I don't like them today. But he called Ben Ashworth's parents and said that he was BryanSt.John and he was coming to kill him. She came and admitted that. She got caught doing that. All right? But when I would ignore these people, they didn't like that anymore. So they started making fake profiles that looked like me, in which TNT's made fake profiles here on YouTube. Now, right now, me and TNT aren't arguing. But she lives not too far from me, and all these Braydens family live around me. There's been no fighting and no arguing with us for the last 4 years. It only went on during the trial, and maybe a little bit after the trial. But if anybody wants to sit out there and think that I think it's funny that this child lost his life at the hands of anyone, much less my son. If I think it's funny, oh, that's fucked up funny shit right there. He killed him, ha ha ha. Then you're sick in the fucking head. You're sick in the fucking head. This was devastating not only to their family, but to my family. And John didn't care about Braydens' family yesterday. He didn't care about Braydens' family 3 years ago when we got into it. He didn't care about them. But now that he's mad, all of a sudden Braydens' life and his family are important. And keep in mind this. John said he's going to do a fundraiser for them. They don't need any money. Right? Brayden has been buried. Everything was donated. His casket is gone. So imagine that you're a person who, first of all, they don't make a lot of money. None of them do. So somebody calls you and says, hey, we'll do this fundraiser. All I need you to do is just come on here and talk about how Bryan did this and Bryan did that, and we'll be sure to get you some money. How come John didn't raise money for them when it happened? I was on YouTube then. He knew it. How come John didn't raise money for them when it happened? So basically, he's offering to pay these people to come up and say whatever they want to say. And I'll be able to debunk it. Remember, John, I got files. I put up Daryl Braydens' father. I put up his psychological report where they spoke about his family and drug use. There's reports of heroin. I put up criminal records before because these people were coming at me as if I was crazy or something. If you call me defending myself against them coming at me, harassing them, then so be it. You can call them that. You can call it that. But this is just some idiot from the UK that wasn't there. TNT, we all know how she did it. She befriended me and my family. I put up the recording where she called and said, I know Luke is innocent, and I feel so bad for your family. People have heard it. So she befriended me, and she started to talk to Nicole. But the whole time, we didn't know that she was a friend of the Ferguson family. This is while the trial was going on. She was trying to get information. TNT and I have spoke about this. It's all water under the bridge. I'm not fighting with her today. I'd rather not fight with her, but, it's no big deal if we do. So if anybody has someone in their family that does something like this, and granted, know this, before this happened, my family and the Ferguson family were friendly. And now, I'm not friendly with them now, but if I happen to see them out, it's not like I nod to them and say, hey, we just don't say anything to each other. But my ex-wife, she goes to where they drink at. They go together to drink. I don't drink. I don't go to clubs. They are able to speak to each other at all. And she would get into it with him too. So these people can say whatever they want. You're pushing it right here, John, because I'm telling you, whoever you bring up or whoever you want to make a statement with, I'm gonna know who they are, and I've got their background too. So be sure that you put up something that's factual. You can't just bring somebody up and say, yeah, well, he did this and he did that, because I'll show you, just like I did before. I was having, and to be quite honest with you, when I was in with my first wife, at the end of our marriage, right when we were going through a separation, I had a relationship with one of Braydens' family, and that was brought up too. I had a relationship, so I would be able to go over their houses, and stuff like that with that person, and they knew I was still married and all that. So better keep it real, because like I said, anybody can come on here and make a post like this, but that doesn't make it a fact. Harassed and stalked, as if I was driving around to stalk them. No, that's not what happened. I had no charges of harassment. Their people got arrested. Some of their people got arrested for firing shots and harassing us. There's one, Braydens' uncle, right now, is in jail waiting on a murder trial. The man who raised Kelsey, Braydens' mother, spent 14 years in prison. He was in jail with Luke, and he said he was friends with Luke. He passed away. His name was Elvis. He spent 14 years because he shot a man about 12 times. There's a drug conviction that Kelsey, bless her heart, she lost Ryan Jr. because she wouldn't follow CPS. And they maintain a relationship. We maintain a relationship with her, even though Ryan Jr. was adopted out. We're still able to talk to her based on him, and we get pictures of him and updates on him and stuff like that. So we're sort of cool with her. But only thing I can say about this whole harassing thing is that, yes, while the trial was going on, there was a whole lot of fighting. And that I would assume that would be natural. There was a whole lot of fighting. If you remember the West Memphis 3, there was a whole lot of fighting in the neighborhood between those families as well. And that's just the way it is. So mind your P's and Q's on this. You guys can take what you want and believe what you want, but if you think for 1 second that I think that any of this is funny, or that I got up that morning and called my son up and said, you know what? You should kill that baby. You should beat that baby to death. You should. That's what you should do today. And then when you do, I'm going to call every one of them and tell them how funny it was. And I'm going to harass them for it. If I have to dig and put all this shit back up again, I've got it. And I'll do it, John. Just because my son, who was 23 years old, committed this crime does not mean he was raised that way. Does that mean John's, does that mean John's raised his daughter to cut herself? Just because she did that, or is that something she did? Anybody who could kill a child has a mental illness. Anybody who could cut themselves has a mental illness. John doesn't seem mentally ill to me. He just seems like a fucking asshole that lies a lot. Did you teach your daughter to cut, John? And you don't know what your kids are going to grow up to do. I have kids like Luke that did this bullshit, and I have other kids that are doing very well, very successful. And keep in mind that Luke and I's mother, we divorced when he was 12 years old. I lived in a completely different state for the longest time with another woman. We divorced. We maintained friendship, but she was raising, and his mother is she's a really good woman. She's somebody that don't fuck with social media. She don't want to be drama in her life. She's a good woman. She still has that job today where she, like Rel's business. Everybody knows what Rel's business is. She does that. That's what she does. She takes care of older, elderly people. She makes a good living doing that. And we're all friendly, So, be on your A game, John. That's all I got to say. But I just wanted to go through this. And some of these comments under here is like people are just believing what they see right here without coming to talk to me. If anybody wants to speak to me about what their opinion, I've always been an open book. It's BryanSt.John@gmail.com. My number is 937-687-8768. If anybody wants to speak to me about this, because right now you're listening to a one-sided opinions and fabricated, out-of-context bullshit. John, and keep in mind, John didn't care about Brayden yesterday. He didn't care about Brayden last week. He didn't care about Brayden the first time we got into it. But now that I'm coming at him and he's got nothing left to come at me with. Oh, well, he's harassing his family. He harassed his family. You can take the word harass and change it with argued with. Because we argued. It's not like I woke up in the morning and thought to myself, let me fuck with these people because my son killed their baby and I'm so fucking proud of that. The fuck out of here with that bullshit, John. You're setting yourself up for some bullshit, John. If you think I don't have your background and if you think that you're legally untouchable, you got nothing coming. But we'll see. We'll see what you do. Right now, you're just talking shit in the drama community. That's okay. You can do that, but don't push it too fucking far, buddy. I'll tell you that now. And whoever you decide to, if you talk to one of them and you bring them up on a panel, they better have their fucking A game going. Because they're here in my city. It'd be a lot easier for me to do something civil. Legal. So they better watch their fucking A game. I know every one of them. I could be at just about every one of their houses within less than 10 minutes from here. I could go right downtown. I know their addresses and everything. I go right downtown and file. So if they come on here to talk some bullshit, they can come on and speak their story about how they feel about Brayden because it is a tragedy. But they better watch their fucking P's and Q's when they start to go talk about me. Because I'm tired of this bullshit with that family. I didn't kill nobody. If you got a problem, you could J-pay my son and tell him what your problem is. Mind your P's and Q's. That's what I'm saying. Better have your A game going.